Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the ZOEVA Cocoa Blend eyeshadow palette. So this is the second eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be reviewing from ZOEVA. I already did a review and 3 demo look on the Caramel Melange palette. So if you guys are interested in seeing that video, I will link it somewhere here on the screen. But for today's video, we will be talking all about the ZOEVA Cocoa Blend palette. So yeah, in this video today, I'll be giving you guys my thoughts on the shades and the formula, and also giving you guys 3 different looks with this one palette. So if you're interested in seeing all of that, then just continue watching. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly run through some product info just in case you didn't watch my Caramel Melange video. So the way I got my ZOEVA palette, I actually got it in this box. So in this box there comes with 3 palettes. It has the caramel, the cocoa, and the blank fusion. So it comes with 3 palettes, and this is 95 Australian dollars. You can get the palettes separately, and that is $35. So it does work out a little bit cheaper if you do get this box. So this little palette, it is very slim, very lightweight, super easy to travel with if you wanted to. And when you open it up, you get 10 beautiful shadows in here, and all of the palettes have like kind of a different theme, which I think is seriously so cute. The Caramel Melange palette was selected with taste. This one is selected with love, with superb ingredients for the taste of temptation. Since this is the second palette that I'm trying out from ZOEVA, I will be comparing it to the Caramel Melange palette, and if you guys watched my review on that, you would know that I actually really love that palette. I love the formula of the eyeshadows. They're so pigmented, they blend out very easily, and the shades in there I'm a big fan of. There are some cons in there, but overall that palette I am a big fan of. But when we come to this palette, my feelings are a little bit different. Shade range, formula, just this palette was lacking a lot for me. So first, let's start off with the formula of these shadows. So I would assume that all of the formulas would be fairly the same. They would be quite consistent. But for some reason, I just found the matte shadows, and there's not a lot matte shadows in this palette anyway, but the matte shadows that are in here, I just found to be so choppy and so hard to blend. They were lacking pigment. They were just very patchy on the eyes, and I don't know why. I was using the same brushes, I used the same eye primer, like everything was the same. So I don't know why, it was just so hard to blend, and I felt really crappy about my eye looks. I felt like they were very choppy, very patchy, and they just didn't look good. And you only get 4 matte shadows in here, and you know, this is a 10 pan palette. That's not a lot of shadows, you know, compared to like Colourpop where there is 12. And for there to only be 4 matte shades, it's kind of like, first you get this one here, which is like a matte white, and they have a very similar one in the Caramel Melange palette, so I feel like they could have done something else with this shade here. You get this one, and I would consider it to be a matte. There are little specks of fine gold glitters, but it's very fine. Like at first glance, you'll think it's a matte shade, but if you really like, you can see that there is a little bit of shimmer, so you could call it like a satin shade if you wanna. And then we have this one here, which is like a beautiful toasted brown shade, and then you get like the dark brown here. I think you guys will be able to tell, like the camera will pick it up, how hard it was for me to blend out. And for these shades, I had to use them in every single look because these are the only mattes that I can be playing with, you know what I mean? For that, like only 4 mattes, I just found it so difficult to create 3 looks with this one palette. I think if I had some other palettes in conjunction with this palette, maybe it would have been a little bit easier. But yeah, I didn't create anything that I was like super proud of. These are looks that I would just wear like every day. They're very easy to come up with. They're nothing like really that creative. So the metallic shades in the Caramel Melange palette, they are so nice. They are so metallic, so high shine. The only 2 that are like that is this one down here and this one over here. The other metallic shades I feel like are not as creamy and pigmented and high shine. And then I don't know if it's just me. I haven't heard anyone else talk about this kind of formula of eyeshadow. So we have this shade here, which is called Infusion, and Colourpop has a very similar eyeshadow finish to this as well, where it's considered as a matte, but when you look at the pan and when you actually swatch it, there are glitters in it. So it's a matte base with glitter flecks in it. So I don't know what formula you want to call that. It's not really a matte because it has glitters, but then it's not a metallic because it has a matte base. Once you put it on the eyes, all of the glitters, it's not even there. It's not visible. It's nowhere to be seen. So pretty much it's a matte eyeshadow. I don't know why they want to put glitters in there because it's not going to show up on the eyes. Because there is that fine glitter in the formula of this eyeshadow, it makes the eyeshadow much more patchier, and especially when it's such a dark shade, oh gosh, that is like, you're wanting patchy eyeshadow right there. Dark eyeshadows are already hard enough to blend out, and if you want to add glitter and make it more patchy, I mean, it's just like... Honestly, I just did not enjoy this palette, and for the shades that I actually like in this palette, like this one here and this one here, they are so dupeable, you know what I mean? Like, I know I have a shade very similar to this in other palettes. I feel like the Jaclyn Hill palette, you can find these two shades easy. So for that, I am not going to recommend it to you guys. I'm just kind of surprised of how different this was from the Caramel Melange. Like, the Caramel Melange I love. Like, I would give that like an 8 out of 10. This I would give like a 4. So that is pretty much it for the review portion. Let's go ahead and get started with the 3 demo looks. So first we're going to take the shade Bitter Start, and I'm going to use this to set down my concealer, which is pretty much my eye primer. Using the shade Substitute for Love, this is going to be our transition shade. I'm putting this straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions to blend it all out. As always, I like to take a clean blending brush just to go around the edges of the transition shade to make sure everything is nice and blended. Then going into the shade Freshly Toasted, this is going into the outer third of our eye, just using circular motions to get a good blend in that outer corner, and then what is ever left on my brush, I'll slowly bring it into the inner corner of my lid. Going back with my previous brushes, I just like to add on more color for the blend, because when you do blend, a lot of the pigment does fade away. So I'm just showing you that I go back and forth with my brushes. Then we'll be taking the shade Beans Are White, which is a really funny name for this shade color, but we're taking this into the outer third once again, using more of a smaller brush and focusing it in a smaller section. This is going to start creating the depth that we want in the outer corner. And for the star of the show, we're using Pure Ganache, and this is going right into the inner third of our lids. This gold is so metallic, so high shine. It's like one of the most metallic golds I have in my whole collection, but I'm just applying this into the inner third of my lid space. And just taking a bit of Freshly Toasted to blend the shimmer and the mattes all together, that way there are no harsh lines. And for my lower lash line, I'll also be using the shade Freshly Toasted, just really smoking this out from inner to outer corner. I will also be using a brown kohl liner just to tightline my lower lash line to give it the perfect brown smoke. And this, guys, is the completed look for Demo 1. I went off camera and gave myself a wing liner. I popped on some lashes. These lashes are the Serene Lite from House of Lashes. As for my lip color, I lined my lips with the Colourpop Lippie stick in Curvii, and I topped it off with the e.l.f. Cosmetics lip gloss in the shade Natural. So for look number 2, we are starting off with Bitter Start once again, just using this to set down my concealer, which is always my eye primer. Surprise, surprise, using Substitute for Love again for my transition shade. This shade will be my transition shade for all 3 looks, so I feel like this part we can fast forward. Then I'll be using the shade Freshly Toasted, and this is gonna go all over my lid. I'm sorry that this part is out of focus. I don't know why it's focusing on my hair, but not on my eyes. But I put this on my lid and I just slowly blended it up towards my transition shade. Then just taking the shade Beanzo White, we are going to start focusing this on our lid. This is going to be more of like a gradient smoky eye. So just focus most of the pigment on my lid first, and then what is ever left on my brush, slowly blending it up into the transitions that we just created. Using the shade Infusion, I'm going to start packing this on my actual lid space. Now this is the shade that I was talking about earlier in my review portion, where it's like a matte shadow with glitter reflex in it. As you can see, I'm really packing this onto my eye. You see no signs of glitter and you can see how patchy it is. So I feel like this step, I really messed up the whole look. I just feel like it really made the whole eye look very patchy. But again, for the lower lash line, just using Freshly Toasted, running that from inner to outer corner. Taking Beans Are White, I'm just going to press this under my waterline, just really defining that lower lash line just to match it up with the dark shadows on our lids. And for this look, I decided to tightline my bottom waterline with black Creme gel liner just to make everything very intense and very smoky. And this is the completed look for look number 2. For lashes, I am wearing the Boudouir Lite from House of Lashes, and for my lip color, it is the Ultra Blotted Lip in the shade Zuma by Colourpop Cosmetics. Now we move on to demo 3. I am just setting my eye primer once again with the shade Bitter Start. And then using the shade Substitute for Love as our transition shade, the same exact technique as the previous 2 looks. Using the shade Freshly Toasted, I'm first focusing this on the outer third of my eye, and then I kind of just bring it all over into my lid anyway. And then just using the shade Beans Are White, and this is going into the outer corner of my eye, very similar to the first demo. Now I'll be using the shade Warm Notes, and this is going onto the center of my lid. I'm going to use the shade Wet just to get the most pigment. And then just using the shade Sweeter End, and this is going into the inner corner. I was really disappointed with this shade. It is very lackluster. It's not a really high shine metallic that I was expecting. And again, just taking Freshly Toasted for my lower lash line shade, just blowing that out, smoking it from inner to outer corner. So this is the completed look for demo 3. For lashes, I am wearing the Serene Lite from House of Lashes, and for my lip color, it is the Luxe lipstick from Colourpop Cosmetics in the shade 27. Okay guys, that is going to wrap up my review and my 3 dimmer look for the ZOEVA Color Blend Eyeshadow Palette. I hope you did find this video helpful and enjoyable to watch, and if you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up for me. I seriously would appreciate it so much. Also, comment down below your thoughts on this palette. I know it's like a really popular palette, it's a lot of people's favorite palette, so let me know, do you guys love this palette or would you guys agree with me on this palette? I would love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, that is pretty much everything for today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!